All right, Sistas fans, hope everybody's doing well. Season 5, Episode 12, the first episode of Season 5B, entitled Backlash. I didn't love the episode, but I had a good time watching it, believe it or not. I'm giving it an 8 out of 10. I know it's a score that is higher than the Oval, but this episode had some interesting talking points, and believe it or not, the Fatima, honestly, the Hayden storyline is my favorite. Fatima getting this Tamara girl to come, be the gold digger to take Hayden for what he has. But other than that, I've been having some interesting conversations with people about the episode, and, well, to be blunt, Karen is lying. But we'll get to that later. Also, I guess people were watching the episode early via the BET app or Watch Now app or something, because around 7 or 8:20 last night, I was sent the 20-second scene where Karen tells the girls that Zach is the father, and I'm like, damn, this has never happened before. And that pretty much had the internet talking. But then the episode came on, and I think that, I had a lot of problems with the episode, but overall I did enjoy it, so that was good. Okay, now I'm going to address the many issues I had while I do my review, so maybe this is going to be longer than normal, but, before we really dig deep, make sure you take a moment to hit the thumbs up button to show you like the video, and hit subscribe. I really want to get those numbers up this year. Last year was the best year for the channel, but I still feel like we can do more, so show your engagement by liking and subscribing. Alright. Now we pick up where we left off, which pissed me off because I'm like, screw this whole Calvin and Q crap. Let's get to the hospital. Calvin is beating the brakes off of Q, and he's smart. Sabrina, get your phone. What do you want? What do you need the phone for? What? And I'm like, if you don't get your ass over there and get that phone. But, she's like, stop it. You're going to kill him, Calvin. I'm like, what? So Calvin is like, I want to get the phone, and he pulls out the video or whatever to record, and then he wants to get a confession out of Q, and then he's not going to do it. Look, you either confess to what you did, I want to keep beating your ass. I ain't doing nothing. Oh, shit. And then Sabrina lets him go. And I'm like, what the hell are you doing? So he literally says, this ain't over light skin. I got you. I'm coming back. Get your ass out of here, Q. And he's literally going to come back for revenge, and you're just going to let him go. Sabrina really pissed me off here. Now, this just goes to show Tyler Perry's writing and how he will just throw in random moments of intelligence where they don't fit. So all of a sudden, Sabrina is a lawyer. Calvin, it wouldn't have worked. If you would have gave that recording over to the police, they could have... No, it wouldn't have worked because he was under duress. You were beating him with that golf club. The confession wouldn't have mattered. And I'm like, this is Tyler Perry writing. So you're telling me Calvin recording or videoing, I don't know how he would have done it. If it were me, simply... hey, record the video, but then at the same time convert the MP4 file to an MP3 file. That way nobody can see what's going on. That way it's just audio. But basically, you're telling me the cops or whoever would say, this man is under duress. This confession isn't valid. But they would listen to the confession that Maurice gave and couldn't tell that it was freaking sarcasm. Then on top of that, so Sabrina, you realize that beating Q with the golf club to get a confession would make his confession not valid because of duress, yet you didn't stop to think, oh, if I beat up Q with this golf club, he can press charges against me and have me arrested again. Again, folks, do you see where I'm going with this? How Tyler will write in things when he wants to make the story kind of move forward, when in reality, it's a clear contradiction to the intelligence we've seen to these characters up until certain points. Now, I'll just talk about the whole Calvin. I'll talk about the apartment stuff right now. So, later on, we see Calvin and Sabrina sitting on a couch discussing the situation. You know, she thanks him for defending him and trying to help out with getting her out of jail. And for the people who are saying that, no, Andy didn't, put up 1.5 million. She got 20,000 from Calvin. No, that wasn't the case at all, because apparently Danny never called Calvin in regards to getting the money to, get Sabrina out. So it was just Andy giving half and then Robin giving half. So then the conversation switches over to Maurice, which, like I said before, in the mid-season finale, when she got out of jail, she didn't ask about Maurice once. Now, thanks for getting me out, Andy. Has anybody talked with Maurice? Has anybody? No, not one time did Maurice come up until, if I'm not mistaken, when she went over to the apartment at the end of the last episode. But now all of a sudden, I'm so worried about Maurice. This is so wrong. And yeah, and then has he called you? No, he hasn't called me at all. But you know how Maurice gets in times like this, where he just beats himself up and, he's all, sad and whatnot. And I told him not to and then Calvin, he got on my nerves too, where it's like, I told him not to mess with that dude and have him hanging around here. You the one that let him up in here too? Need I remind you? You know what? After hearing his story, I'm okay with Q staying here. And then Calvin just acting all big and bad this entire episode. Well, if he ever comes back, I'll whoop his ass again. Calvin, stop smelling yourself. Like, no. And then hell, even later on in the episode, even Sabrina tells Karen about it and stuff like that. Like, yeah, Calvin beat his ass. Sabrina, if you had only seen when Q beat his ass. Like, he acting all big and Q said he coming back for revenge, and honestly, I can't wait for that to happen. I hate the character, but damn it, Calvin just acting like Maurice was the one who did everything wrong. And I'm not lying. Maurice screwed up multiple times. There are multiple times, but it wasn't just Maurice that screwed up. Calvin, you let him. What? You let him. Yeah, I came home and I saw your man on the stoop looking like a stray cat, so I let him in to have some dinner. And no, Calvin is just as responsible. Maurice, Calvin, and then Sabrina for the 2 times that Q showed up to the bank, and yet she didn't call the cops or call anybody to make sure this guy was banned from the property. Now all of a sudden, yeah, Maurice really screwed up. So anyway, Sabrina leaves to go to get some rest and to go handle a few things, and that's pretty much it for them. All right, so over at the hospital, Andy and Danny are wondering, so Karen, what's going on? What, who's the father? What's going on with that? Karen doesn't say shit. So then Danny decides to pull out her calendar, look, I remember the dates and all, I can figure this out. And then Andy's like, well, maybe it's too soon. Maybe she wants to sit on this and have some time to think. What the hell did she call? Yeah, okay, I ain't gonna lie. Let's say if a friend is like, hey man, can you take me to the hospital or something like that? Because I really need to get something checked out. Don't worry, man, I got you. So, I cares, I'll wait because I'm his ride and whatnot. And then, after talking with the doctor and whatnot, hey, man, is everything cool? What's up? And then they don't say shit. I'm going to be not to pry, but it's I don't want to sound like I feel obligated, but it's yo, you sounded urgent on the phone for me to get you down here. I waited 2 hours for you to, do what you got to do. So could you at least let me know what's going on? Because, then I'm going to be worried about something. But in this case, it's Andy, here we go again with the whole, hey, don't worry. You ain't got to say. It's the part that kills me where they act like everything isn't a big deal. But this baby is coming. 8 months is 8 months. But at the same time, you're just going to sit on it. When in reality, you have multiple guys who could be the dad and you're not going to say shit. Now, I don't care who the father is. I've made that clear multiple times. My thing is with how they're dragging the storyline. But not to jump too far ahead into the episode, but let me just say right up front. I think Karen is lying about Zach being the father. Now, keep in mind, Zach could be the father because even the doctor said our scans and our results aren't 100%, but we can get pretty close. So let me just say this up front. When the baby, if it does happen, if the baby does eventually get born, Zach could be the father. I'm not denying that. What I'm saying is Karen is straight up lying here in the moment. Here's how I know. Think about it this way. It wasn't until Danny whipped out her calendar and is like, yeah, I remember the dates. I got this. Before she could get to a conclusion, that's when Karen finally spoke up and said, Zach's the father. It's his. I always knew. It's not even really about the body language, but, you can look at the body language, but like, look at her tone or listen to her tone. From the season 3 finale, when she first said, I'm pregnant, or basically the season 4 premiere when she's like, it's yours, and she completely dismisses the idea of it being Aaron's. And then all the times in season 4, and of course the first part of season 5. Zach's the father. I just know. I can't explain it, but I feel it. She's been so cocky, so arrogant, so confident, so shell of herself. Now it's like she doesn't want to answer the question. At first, she didn't want to go to the doctor to get confirmation because she was afraid her guess or her certainty was wrong. Now that she has the quote unquote confirmation from the doctor, that swagger, that's gone. She ain't got that no more. Or as she would say, no mo. She don't. She just threw out that answer so Danny would stop looking. Then when we fast forward to the salon, when she's talking with Aaron, because remember, she called him over there for like the first time. He didn't just pop up. He came because she called. And he knew what was up because she was going to the hospital that morning. So it's like, let me go over there because, maybe she wants to talk about the baby. She didn't talk about it right away. She wanted to talk about, the doctor said I'm fine. I can go back to work and, oh yeah, we're good. Yeah. Zach's the father, isn't he? Notice that Karen wasn't the one to bring it up. It was Aaron. And notice how she said, well, yes, but the doctor said it's not 100%. I mean, but she's pretty certain that, the results are right and he's the father. Another thing. Karen never brought up the dates. She never said the 12th. She never said the 19th. Aaron being Aaron with his timelines, if he would have heard the numbers, he would have said, well, wait. The results said the 12th. My timeline said the 12th. Even though it's not 100% certain, Karen, I think I'm the father. So, yet again, we have Karen like dragging her feet. Keep in mind, when it comes to going back to the hospital room with the girls, Andy's like, well, are you going to tell him? But first Karen was like, well, go. I know you want to tell your little friend. And Andy's like, no, I'm not going to. And then Danny kind of rolled her eyes because here we go. Karen wanted to make a point that Andy would tell Zatima in order to hurt her, kind of like, or get under her skin, kind of the same way Zach told Sabrina at the bank, well, go tell your little girls, how much money I got in the bank, because I know you want to tell Karen anyway. I think that she said, I want to go to the salon and I want to take some time to think about it. That let me further know that Karen's on some bullshit right now. If she had her suspicions confirmed that Zach was the father, she would have been smiling, smirking. She wouldn't have wasted any time to get to Zach to tell him the news. This is bullshit. So from there, Andy decides to have a little meeting with all the girls. So why don't you come over to my place? All the girls will get together at my place and discuss what went on here. Why? The date. We're just dragging this shit out. Okay, let me move on before I get mad. All right, so I'll just go back to the salon. Aaron came over because Karen called. Pam calls. Pam calls him a puppy. But I'm actually glad that Aaron did not just pop up. He came because Karen called. I think that's more respectable than him just randomly popping up, disregarding boundaries. So when they go to the back, she reveals I can go back to work and whatnot. The doctor said I'm okay. And then the conversation shifts over to the baby being Zach's, and, how do you feel about it? And as always, Aaron, he's a bit disappointed, but he's okay with it. And it's not going to change how he feels about her. That's pretty much it. He's literally like, how can I support you? Oh, stop being so perfect. But basically, she's going to talk to the girls first and then eventually tell Zach. And, Aaron says, I'll see you tonight. Sabrina comes in. She's apparently traumatized by her experience about the hair and everything. And Pam does say it looks good. And it goes back to the video I did about seeing a different side of Sabrina. It would have helped if we would have seen what it was like for her behind bars and whatnot, because her being traumatized and whatnot, I get it. Well, I don't get it because you've seen me. I don't really got hair like that, but a black woman's hair is definitely important to them. So yeah, to have it, forcefully cut and whatnot. Yeah, I can't relate to it, but I could see how that would, do some damage to her in terms of like, her confidence and whatnot. So Karen does agree to help out. She'll go get some hair and come back and, fix it up the way it was. So this was a good Karen Sabrina moment. We need more moments like these between the girls one-on-one, not in a group, not in the usual duo of Karen and Andy or Sabrina and Danny, but we kind of mix and match the combos of the characters. And this was a good scene for what it was. All right. Now back on track. Zach actually comes to see Fatima in her office. This was the first time we've seen Zach go into Fatima's office. Not in the hallway, not in the break room, not in the lobby. He's in her office. That was cute. But basically, he comes in to talk about the Lori situation, to kind of mend bridges with Karen in order to avoid getting a lawsuit by her for child support, which she says she's cool with. These damn trailers are misleading. It turns out the thing that that she's not cool with is Zach going by the salon to talk with her. But the plan is to invite both the women, I believe, to the house. So I think Heather and Karen at the same time to trying to, smooth things over to figure out child support, how that's going to work. And Fatima says, let me call an organizer. No. It's okay. We don't need any punches or guns or anything. Well, I could be quite persuasive. And I'm like, well, Zach, think of it this way. If you let Fatima handle it in terms of at least getting the women over there, they'll probably be at your house before you even got home from leaving Fatima's job. But basically, while they're having their discussion, which I did love this scene, Hayden comes in. And then when this fool goes, did somebody just say my name? Like a damn leprechaun. I lost it. This was good. I even think Zach went troll, but regardless, he's there to serve, Zach the paperwork for the lawsuit that Heather is putting against him for child support. He doesn't want to see it. He doesn't want to touch it. And and Fatima's like, take the papers, because somebody let me know during the live that, no, I mean, if you don't look at the papers or anything, then technically you're not served or something like that. Or I don't know. I need to look it up. But basically, I was kind of like, Fatima, like, Zach, come on now. This isn't the time. This is serious. This isn't something to take lightly, but basically he takes the documents and he leaves. So from there, Andy comes in right as, Zach was leaving and, they're about to kiss. It's like, no, Zach wants to kiss, but it's like, my boss is right there. What are you talking about? It's like, I'm thinking to myself, well, I get it. Fatima's being professional, but for what it's worth, Andy and Robin almost got it on in her office that one night. So there's that aspect of it. But this was a fun scene. And it's like, hey, I'm leaving, but don't touch me. Might get pregnant. So, I really love this scene. It was fresh to see Zach and Fatima. This is the Zach and Fatima I like to see, as opposed to the Fatima we've been seeing for a majority of the first part of season 5. So this really was a highlight of the episode for me anyway. But, her and Andy have a brief discussion and, to show that, yeah, even though we see these people at their jobs on the show, they actually have stuff to do, because Fatima runs down Andy's itinerary for like the next couple of days and, she's on top of her game. And from there, she's about to go see Robin. So she goes see Robin and, he asked about the Sabrina situation to see if everything was okay with that. Everything is good to go. And she thanks him for it. And he's like, are you sure she's not going to run or anything? No, no, she's good. She's going to. It's like, okay, good, good, good. Now, basically, the conversation shifts to him apologizing for like the umpteenth time and whatnot. And he mentions how he's in a tough spot because the partners are trying to, talk about different portions that each partner needs to bring to the table. And in Robin's case, it's 14 million, but he knows that Gary and Hayden are the ones conspiring this, to come together so I can get the boot. He doesn't have that kind of money right now, but especially, the money he put up for Sabrina, but it's not like he's mad at Andy or anything because, 1.5 million, well, isn't, enough to really save my hide. So I got to figure a way to work it out. Then Andy has an idea to recommend an old client of hers to get the money. And hey, well, just so you know, if you get involved with this person and don't pay him back, you might lose your arms or something. And I'm like, I know she isn't talking about Madam, but when she kept talking, apparently there was some person that she represented and the wife was so scared she didn't, get anything from him. So yeah, who is this mystery person? This kind of feels like an ass pull, kind of like Sabrina and the whole duress thing. It's like, how would she know that? But in any case, he'll look into it, and she mentions how I don't like playing games. I'm not some prize to be won. And it's like, Andy, one of my favorite tweets of the night where I went, Andy, you play more games than a bunch of kids at a birthday party. Don't act so innocent like you don't. Look, I'm not some prize to be won. Look, you're a materialistic girl living in the material world, and yeah, Madonna is some song of hers, but regardless, she leaves. Everything's cool between them. So the doctor, I did forget to mention when Karen first went back to the salon to talk with Pam, she does mention the update on how she can go back to work again. She'll call her mom to let her know, and she's going to work full time, even though that's a mistake. This is a problem. She's going to jump right back into work to catch up. And it's like, Karen, you were only gone for 2 days or something. So come on now. You don't need to go back full time. I mean, even if you should go in for a few hours, maybe take a couple of clients, but for the most part, stay in the office and do some work, as opposed to being on your feet all day. So from there, Fatima calls in a favor to Madam about the gold digger and to meet up with her when she gets to the law firm. So that was pretty cool. And later on, Tamara shows up and her and Fatima go into the break room to talk. And, Tamara has that hood just going on full blast. And then Fatima basically tells her to take it down. Here's what you need to do. I need you to take this Negro for everything he's got. Basically get in on him, get information. I want to know his every move, this, that, and the third. Basically, she breaks it down. And then I love the way she kind of plays it up where she's able to flip her hood off at the drop of a dime. Like basically it's like a switch. She can go from hood to, proper and poised like that. And Fatima was all for it. So she's like, hey, big guy, small P, big ego, small PP. Oh, well, it don't matter. I got Big Jim waiting for me at home. And I'm like, is Big Jim a guy or a tool? But then I ain't want to think about it that much. So in any case, just make up a story about you needing help with a legal case, or at least to see if you got a case. And, just stroke his ego, take him out, and just basically do what you do. And she basically reassures Fatima, look, I'm a pro at this. Don't worry about it. So also, don't tell Hayden who referred him to her. Yeah. So from there, Hayden gets a call to come down to the front desk, and they meet, and she's kind of flirtatious with him. It's like, oh yeah, I've heard so much about you. You're cute and you're intelligent. Well, who referred you to me? Oh, no. She'd kill me if I tell you. Well, now I gotta go. I'm not telling you. All right, well, how about with this? Let's go back to my office and we'll talk about the situation and see if you got a case. And then Fatima walked by him as they're going down the hallway, and she's like, yes. All right. So Q is limping into work. I think this guy has just like a part beaten up face. like maybe you can see a bruise on his face. I think I got to double check. I'm literally scrolling through the episode now while I record. His face does look a little banged up, just a little bit. But even if it's hard to tell. But then again, even if he does have a little bit of a bruise, it's not as badly, done with makeup as Jason's is on the Oval. But he comes up with some damn cover story. I got into it with that guy who was staring at you at the airport yesterday. What? Yeah, we got into it. I saw him waiting outside of the airport. So, I decided to get into a fight with him. And I beat his ass, though. So you got beaten up by an injured man? And I'm thinking to myself, Danny, good and hell well, Jonah, all he had was one crutch when he was sitting at the airport staring you down. And also, Q said he had a baseball bat, which I do feel is like so this man had a crutch and a baseball bat. Or I'm guessing he didn't even have the crutch anymore. But from there, he tries to ask Danny, he's like, you ain't even going to thank me? I got my ass beat. I think you need to, get a cart so you can get to work. Yeah, I need a cart. And then he's like, do you need anything? No, I don't. Well, I think you do need something. Then he limps off to get a cart. So we go back to Andy's office and she talks about Fatima. She talks to Fatima about the Robin situation being handled and everything is cool. Well, yeah, I'm glad it's cool. He had no reason to talk to you like that. He knows that now. And I'm like, Andy. Also, she didn't even say anything about the whole contract. But some people are like, well, Jeremy, it doesn't really matter if Andy told Robin about the contracts and all that she found from Gary's pocket due to the fact that Gary and Hayden's plans, Robin already knows they're behind it. I get it, but I don't know. I still feel weird about how she handled it, in my opinion. So, before Fatima's able to leave for the day, Andy's like, I know you're hiding something from me. The tan line on your finger. Sit down. What? So she was able to discern that she has an engagement ring from that. Now, I talked with some people on the live stream and women were like, hey, I have it in, wedding ring and whatnot. You get a tan line. I've never worn jewelry in my life. But I am aware that, watches and rings and those kind of things can cause tan lines. But the thing about it is, doesn't it take time to get those tan lines? Fatima barely, if ever, wears her ring to begin with. So when is she wearing her ring long enough to develop a tan line? But like I stated before, perhaps when we get to Zatima season 2, and mentally I'm at a place where it's like, you can't separate the shows anymore. Even though it's not perfect, concrete continuity, I'm just going back to part of what DeVal said. You ever wonder what Zach and Fatima are up to when they aren't on screen during Sistas? That's basically Zatima. So it's going to make more sense. There are plenty of things that we need to get answers for, like how did Heather know about the DNA test results and all this, that, and the third. I think that when we get to Zatima season 2, we're going to fill in those blanks like, oh, did Bryce and Zach, mend fences between their, partnership since they're still working on, buying houses together in Sistas. So I'm thinking that when we get to Zatima season 2, Fatima's going to have her ring on more often. Hence why she would have a tan line on her finger. But then that goes into the other tweet I made last night in regards to, so Andy could notice 2 ladybugs conversing on a wall 50 feet from where she is at her desk. But she can't comprehend the bullshit that Gary has been force feeding her for over 5 seasons now. But yeah, all of a sudden she's a detective. Tan line ring. It's just as random as the whole Calvin, no, he's under duress. The confession won't do it. It felt completely out of nowhere. So basically she makes Fatima sit down. Then the final scene is John Williams yet again trying to get Maurice to sign the paperwork. It was kind of funny. He's like, sir, don't be vulgar. And it's like, you're the one who mentioned getting fingered. So from there, he brings up the fact that Sabrina got out. And the reason that she got out was because she dropped, basically dropped dime on him. And then he hands the pen over to Maurice to sign it. And that's where the episode cuts off. So yeah, it was pretty decent for what it was. But trust and believe, I got some discussion videos to do once I'm done with this one. So let me know your thoughts on the episode in the comment section below. despite my issues, I feel like this was one of the better episodes of the season. Yeah. Really was. All right, well, thanks so much for tuning in. Like and subscribe, and I will catch you in the next one.